Hello and welcome. I'm Trina Summers. I'm going to make this video for my YouTube coaching video channel. And I am coming to you today dressed in my outside clothes because I went out for a walk with some friends this morning, and I have more things to do out in the yard later. So I didn't change clothes in between. And I'm using the I don't know, the recording. I feel like the camera is a little bit grainy, but this is it's easier to do it on the computer than on the phone, even though the phone might have better video, but it is what it is. This is only my third video that I've made for uploading to YouTube, and so it's a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, and so hopefully the videos will get better as they go along, but I don't want to not make them just because they won't be perfect. And so I'm going to go for it anyway. So my coaching background is I have a life coaching certification, actually master life coach certification, which means I got 4 certifications through the same Transformation Academy company. I have life coach, life purpose coaching, happiness coaching, and goal setting coaching certification. And I have certification through Dr. Debbie Silber's Post-Betrayal Transformation Institute, the PBT Institute. And I am a coach in that private community. And so I give weekly classes. So my what I'm covering here is content from the weekly classes. Of course, I won't talk about anything private, but there are potentially live people on the classes, and they're recorded and shared in that community. So in the community, I have a chance to actually interact live with the clients. And but here I'm just going to kind of put the content out there and share it for free and for fun, and see if it maybe helps anybody, or and part of why I decided to start coaching is because to be a continuous learner and continuously healing the betrayals that have happened in my life by helping others. And so I also have almost 20 years, or actually over 20 years of corporate world experience working for some of the largest brands on the face of the planet. And I had done some, I had leadership positions in one of those companies, and developing people was one of my favorite things. So within the PBT community, I'm a self-development coach. So I have the post-betrayal certification, but within that community, everybody has their own specialty. And my specialty is self-development. It's a thing I'm passionate about, something I do read a lot of, for lack of a better term, self-help books. And I am motivated by growing and learning and always want to improve myself. So that's what I do in the community. I'm using my notes from the class. And so in the, I'll just share what I shared there, because at the beginning of each of my classes, I share a win of the week. I actually gave this class several weeks ago, and I'm kind of playing catch up. But my win of the week when I gave this class was that I had caught myself actually in some negative rumination that was going on in my head. And instead of first of all, I didn't try to shut it down. I didn't tell myself, don't think that, shame on you, you're not allowed to think that. I instead kind of responded with compassion, and was able to ask myself, instead of what's the thing I'm thinking about, what's the feeling behind that thing? What feelings are coming up that maybe is why my brain went to that thing to think about? And that was very helpful. And I actually think it led me to a bit of a breakthrough later. But at the time that I initially gave this class, just the fact that I caught myself having those negative thoughts and responded in that manner, I felt like was my win of the week. So this class was about your legacy of authenticity. And when you hear the word legacy, you might think, oh, when you die, right? And that will happen. Truth be told, Western culture, we like to deny that that's going to happen to us eventually. But that's not really what I mean in the context of this class. What I mean when I say legacy for this course is just that what people remember about you, what people think of when they hear your name, when you, and that could be when you pass away, but also just when you leave the room, when you're not around, like what comes to mind when someone says your name. Because when someone mentions someone, you immediately assign certain characteristics, like you think of certain things when you think of that person. So what do you want people to think about when they think about you? And authenticity is one of my core values. I feel I would rather I feel like I'm going to crawl out of my skin if I feel like I'm being inauthentic. And so it's something I want to encourage in other people. I think it's kind of maybe a hot button topic word these days, and but I really hope it's something that people are able to get in touch with, and everybody show up wherever you need to show up in the world on a given day as your true authentic self. And what, like, if you Google that word, because that's what I did, and you find it leads you to Wikipedia, and the in the existential philosophy perspective, this was the definition I got from there: the degree to which a person's actions are congruent with their beliefs and desires despite external pressures to conformity. So your ability to act in concordance with what you believe, regardless of what's going on around you, and pressures to conform. And we can all relate to pressures to conform, right? So some signs of an authentic person are that you're at home with yourself, but you're also really accepting of other people when you're in your most authentic self. You want other people to be in their most authentic self. And so that will allow you to be more authentic. When we're not authentic, we're judging ourselves. We're cramming down certain aspects of ourselves because we feel some kind of negative feeling about those that we're judging. We're placing that negative judgment on that. And so if we're judging others, it's a reflection of us not feeling authentic in ourselves. An authentic person is able to express their emotions freely and clearly. And this would be someone who understands their own motivations. Not to say you always, say and do the right things, but when you don't say and do the right things, you understand at least like why that was the case and why you did that. And an authentic person is able to learn from their mistakes. So that's something, that's a more mature outlook. When we're not authentic, we deny our mistakes, or we maybe make them. We might even admit that we make them, but we didn't. We kind of don't have that capacity to learn from them. So those are some characteristics of an authentic person. There is an article by Harvard Business Review that I found that mentioned the authenticity paradox, and I thought this was key to share with, especially the people in the post-betrayal community that I'm coaching, that there's a lot of upheaval and a lot of change happening in their lives, and that's really uncomfortable. And so the authenticity paradox is about using authenticity as an excuse to stick with what you're comfortable with, and just saying, well, this is my authentic self, so that's how I do things, and that's how I'm going to keep doing things, instead of that learn from mistakes aspect, instead of assessing, what you did, or the situation that you're in, and asking yourself what might be a better situation and what could change. So sometimes we use authenticity as an excuse, and that's my authentic self. That's just how I am. Like, and sometimes that's an excuse, and you could transform, grow, learn, and my authentic self is not an excuse for bad behavior. is the short version of the story. When you are authentic, you will be a work in progress, and you will learn and grow. This brought to mind my favorite quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'll read it to you so that I don't butcher it, but the quote is, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. Speak what you think now in hard words, and tomorrow speak what tomorrow thinks in hard words again, though it contradict everything you said today." So that, I think sometimes we get caught up in, authenticity is like, yesterday I said I would never do this thing. So to be my authentic self means, because yesterday I said I would never do that thing, now I can never do that thing. I have to stick with what I said. But an authentic person grows and learns, and has the authority to change their mind when they get new information. So that's what that, a foolish consistency, like, we don't stick to a foolish consistency in the name of authenticity. If you think something today and you say it and you mean it, it's your authentic truth. If you get new information, if you have a new experience, whatever the case may be, and tomorrow that's not true for you anymore and something else is true now, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to grow and change and learn. And this, it's an important caveat to mention too, that this doesn't mean 100% transparency. That, like, authenticity, being your authentic self and leaving a legacy of authenticity everywhere you go, doesn't mean that just because you're being your authentic self doesn't mean you have to say 100% of everything that pops into your head. It doesn't mean that you always tell the truth when maybe sometimes somebody doesn't need to know something. It doesn't mean you overshare. I'm guilty of oversharing. Like, that's why that's why I can be good at talking about my experiences as a coach in the community, because I have some experience with oversharing. So there's not a lot that I'm afraid to talk about or won't talk about. Although there are some things that I won't talk about. But that's the thing, is it's just because you're authentic just means being genuine. It doesn't mean that you have to say everything, and that if someone asks you, it doesn't mean having no boundaries is what I mean. So there's a state that in the betrayal work that Dr. Debbie Silber leads, there's 5 stages to recovering and transforming, healing from betrayal. And part of that is death of the old and rebirth, and having a new worldview. And so that, for a lot of us, that means really getting in touch with our authentic self, and it means allowing the authentic self to grow and change. So my encouragement is to build a legacy of authenticity, as to be known as someone who is willing to grow and learn, to be known as someone who is on a process of self-development and learning and growing. And I love to help you with that process if you need help. And I hope that you find my videos helpful. And so that is the gist of my class, talking about your legacy of authenticity. And I will see you on my next video. Feel free to like, subscribe, give a thumbs up if you feel that this video warrants it, or out of pity, I don't mind. but that's me being authentic. I will take your thumbs up for whatever reason. So thank you. Until next time. See you soon.